Hi, my name is Shady Attia, professor at Liège University, and I'm going to talk today about how to write a good paper title. Well, the audience of the presentation can be young and also experienced scientists, and it includes also students who are doing bachelor or master or PhD, even postdocs. And the idea here that I want researchers who are interested to publish a research to learn from this presentation. Now, what is the content of this presentation? I'm going to talk why it's very important to invest a lot of time and make sure that your title is good and interesting, and how you can do it, and finally some takeaway message. So let's start. Why is it important to invest and write a good title for my paper or for my manuscript, whether it's a thesis or a dissertation? You know that to attract people's attention today is very difficult, especially that we are in the age of digital information, which means that we have a lot of publication every year getting out worldwide. So the question will be always, how can I attract the attention to my own work? And therefore the title will be a key answer to that. When we look at another reason, well, we are in the age of information, there is overload. The title and the abstract of a paper become very important in this context, and unread science, unfortunately, is lost science. So if you publish something and nobody read it, you lost a lot of time, you lost a lot of effort, and unfortunately, you will be responsible. Maybe when you are at the beginning writing a paper, first paper or first document, you will not be responsible, but if this is your profession, you will need to pay attention to that. Also, I advise you here to have a look to how to write a good paper abstract. It's a video I developed. It's very relevant to this presentation if you are interested. It can be a follow-up video after watching the video on how to write a good title for my research. Now let's see how can we write our title in a good way. First of all, some general recommendation. A good title sparks readers' interest in a split second. They can grasp it very fast, and it can catch their interest. It communicates the result in the study in a very clear and accessible way to non-expert researchers. So this is important to look at. Always look at this. Now, the second issue I want to talk about is how can I write a good title? There is some best practices. So to do that, first of all, start by writing down the main result of the manuscript in a short paragraph. So you need to write the main findings of your work in a very concise way in a short paragraph. The second step will be to shorten this text of your paragraph and to make it more concise, more compact, while remaining descriptive. The third step will be repeating this process until you have a title from something like 7 to 13 words, not more than that, and I advise to have always a short title. Or you can use another indicator, which is the characters. In this sense, keep it less than 96 characters. These are recommendations based on published work. You can have a look at it to make sure if this the source of the information. So don't forget, keep the title short, either 7 to 13 words or less than 96 characters. Now, how can I write now the title also? What can I do to write a good title? You can decide to reveal the results already through the title. Maybe there is a disagreement about that between professionals, but it is up to you. I will not necessarily ask you to reveal the main result in your title, even though I think it's a good idea. But if you do not want to reveal the result in your title, then just describe what is this paper about in your title. So this is the first thing you have to think about and decide, am I going to reveal my result or not? The second thing, write down the title words using different terms or keywords that are used in the industry where you are operating or working, and that can be understood by your audience. We always try to remind researchers and scientists when they publish that you are not publishing for yourself, you are publishing for an audience. There's a group of people who should read your work. In this sense, they have a term, acronyms, they have a certain language. Make sure that when you are formulating the terms in your title, you are using the language used by the industry. So how can I do that? You can speak to an academic librarian to gain an understanding of the keywords and research trends in your field of research, And this should inform how the paper title is written. So try Scopus classification, for example, and from there you can see, okay, this topic, how is it classified in Scopus, or how is it classified by the industry? What term they use it? Sometimes you use a word, but in the industry there's another one. Use the term used by the industry so that you make sure that a larger audience will understand your work. And from there you are revising every single word, especially technical words related to your topic, and you are getting it as close as possible to your audience. For sure, there is top title words that should be included in a good title for a research. Below here, you can find a list of top 5 words that can be found in different publishing houses like the MDPI or the Google Scholar, Web of Science, or the Altmetric. You can see the terms: review, monitoring, recent, method, theory, analysis, applications, learning, method, multiple, new, association, analysis. Those are very relevant key terms. If your study is related to any of these, try to embed these terms in your title. By that, you can increase the interest of people to look at your work. Like I'm telling you what should you do, I also want to tell you what you should not do. Try to avoid advanced technical languages. Once you use technical languages that is very advanced and very specific, maybe this satisfies your ego, but it will not satisfy your reader because it will alienate inexperienced researchers. And don't forget, I want experienced and inexperienced reader to read my work. So this is very important. Avoid any jargon that is used in your field. Avoid questions that does present your key message. Many researchers think that a good title is a question. That's not true at all. This is a myth. Do not use research questions or a question as a title of your work. Questions are very broad and they receive fewer citations. And here is a reference if you want to validate what I'm saying. Also avoid fillers. Keep it short and concise. Don't use the term an observation of, a study of, towards something. These are additional terms that don't say anything. What's the meaning of study? I know it's a study, it's a scientific work. You don't need to say it's a study. You don't need to say it's an observation of. Be very technical when you are using the title words, and try to be concise as possible and avoid any filler. Go to the essence. Well, this is the end of the presentation. Some takeaway messages before you leave this presentation. Well, in order to write a good title for my manuscript, I need to keep it short, from 7 to 13 words, or less than 96 characters. So this is the first thing I have to do. Don't use acronyms or fillers in your title. A good title is appealing and sparks curiosity. Try to test it, and you can even share with some trusted colleagues different titles, alternatives, and ask them which is the most interesting, which is the one that makes you more curious, which title will make you most probably download this paper and read it. So this is very important to do. Use common and top title words, like the examples I talked with you, I showed you from the main publishers, like method, assessment, relation, and so on. There's examples in the previous slides. And understand the keywords and search trends in your field of research. If you are working in a field and you have a very technical language, try to see what kind of language and terms are used in industry and how is your field classified by big publishers, and use their terms. Sometimes in my domain, instead of using the term building and replacing it with construction, can make a huge difference. So I need to learn from librarians, and I need to learn from categorization publishing houses, how they classify this topic and this domain. I use these terms to make sure that my paper will be interesting for a broader audience, and then it will be read, and maybe, and that's what we wish later on, it will be cited. By that, I end up the presentation of today, which is part of a playlist on scientific publishing. I ask you please to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are interested, and don't forget there is an abstract following video that might be very relevant. Otherwise, I wish you the best of luck with writing a good paper title. Thank you very much for your attention.